Hello and welcome to the third episode of a series about Landscaper Terrain Tools, or LTT for short. In this episode we will be looking at Auto Fence and Path Maker. So without further ado, let's get straight on to it. Auto Fence can quickly make fences made up of fence panels, and it will automatically rotate each fence panel correctly, and the fence will follow the path you determine. So let's look at some options. We have the fence prefab here. So that's just the fence panel the fence will be made up of. You have the gap, which is the gap between the fence panels. If it's set to a minus number, there will be an overlap. If it's set to 0, one fence panel ends as the next one starts. And if it's set to a positive number, there will be a gap between the fence panels. The Y offset is the same as it was for the place objects. If this is a positive number, the fence panels will rise up out of the terrain. If it is a negative number, the fence panels will sink into the terrain. The height option is, if it's set to the highest object, the fence panels will be placed on top of objects in your scene, such as these cliffs. So any object with a collide of the fence panels will be placed on top of. If it's set to terrain, the fence panels will simply immediately attach onto the terrain. So if it was set to terrain, the fence would go through these cliffs rather than on top of them. And you can construct this fence by clicking this button. You can add as many fences as you want. You can select which one to edit down here. As you can see, each fence is labelled fence 1, fence 2, etc. and you choose which one to edit here. But seeing as though we're only going to be using one fence, I'll delete those two. Okay, so how do you edit where your fence is going? You go to top-down isometric view because that is the easiest way. You do that by clicking this green Y button up here, and you click a button below that to go into isometric view. And then you will see that there are 4 boxes connected with lines down in the bottom left corner. You can drag these boxes around to create curves, like so. And you can also add more boxes and points by clicking Add New Point down here. Click that, and you'll get 3 more boxes which help you create curves, and you can create infinitely complex curves and pathways using this. If you add a new point, edit it, but then decide you don't need it, you can click Remove Point down here, and that will remove it for you. So once you're happy with this path, that being the black line created here, the 2 black curves, and you want your fence to be along that black curve, you click Construct, like so, and you may not be able to see it from this view, but if you come out of isometric and look down on your terrain here, you can clearly see that all these fence panels have been placed correctly along the black curve, like so. So that's really good, and that would take a long time if you were simply editing or dragging in each of these objects manually. If when you do it, your fence panels are not correctly rotated, make sure that the prefab position and rotation is all set to 0, and then it should work. So that's Auto Fence, and now we'll go on to Path Maker. Path Maker is a very similar tool. It works in the exact same way. You edit a path and then create the path in this case. So you have some options. You have the ground texture and the ground normal map, which is optional. You have the width, and you have the construct button again. Like before, you go to top-down isometric view, edit your path in exactly the same way, like so, and click Construct. And there we go, you can see the path from here. If we come out of this mode, close the window and look at the path closer up, we can see it's textured it all correctly, and it also removes any foliage, so any grass and trees on the pathway. You may have to remove any rocks or objects which are on the path, but other than that it's done it all for you, so that has also saved you a lot of time. So those are the last two features to talk about in Landscape Terrain Tools. Hope you found this series informative and useful. Hope you like the asset. Thanks very much for watching.